If you haven't noticed already, I love talking about books, but some of the books that I love most are the hardest to talk about. Because while I have a whole shelf and an iPad full of books that I absolutely love, there are some books that are closer to my heart, and those are the ones I really struggle to talk about because it feels weird. And I want to change that because I love these books and I do believe other people will love them too. So today I want to talk about Keep Me Breathing. It's my book, hence why it's so weird to talk about it, but I love hearing other authors talk about their books. So, hello, I'm Romelia. I'm an indie author, and this is my debut novel, Keep Me Breathing. So, this book follows Fubuki and Sakura. They're best friends, and they're on a mission to find Sakura's missing son. And on their journey, they're joined by Alexander, a drummer who is convinced he's not good enough for his boyfriend, and Casey, a fraudulent salesman who, for some reason, is scared of water. And while they make new friends and new relationships are formed and some feelings are growing against better judgment, we also get to follow Gideon, who is the missing child, and what he goes through being kidnapped by a criminal organization who might mean well. And while I intended for this book to be a single POV book, only following Fubuki's point of view, it turned into more and more characters, and all of them kind of needed to be heard for the story to feel complete. And I love all these characters, and that's what I'm gonna talk about today. And how they came to. Now, I'm a very character-focused consumer, both when it comes to books, movies, anime, video games. Like, I would rather watch some random slice of life show with interesting characters than the most action and plot-filled story with characters that I just find boring. This translates into my writing process because while the plot to Keep Me Breathing was kind of there, I had some kind of plot, the characters are what brought the story to where it is today. And the same is absolutely said for the next book, where I had the characters and just tried for like a year to actually get a plot out of them. I'm not completely sure which of them were the first character, but Fubuki Snow was absolutely one of them. She's the main character, we follow her more. She was always supposed to be the main character, and I think parts of her came to because when I started writing this story, I was rereading Inkheart, which is, like, the Ink series is one of my absolute favorite series and one that pisses me off the most. And I'm not sure if I just had reread Inkheart or I had came to the point where I get angry in Inkspell, but a lot of Fubuki comes from the character Basta. Because few characters are up there with Basta. It's like viral from Gurren Lagann. I would like to say that her knife obsession was inspired by Basta, but also I think that was inspired by the knife I have hanging above my computer screens. Maybe it was a mixture of them. But I also started taking my driver's license for motorcycle at the time, so she loves knives and motorcycles because that's what was going on in my life at the time, and those things kind of form her. Her relationship with Gideon is also very much inspired by my nephew and nieces, and Gideon himself has a lot of inspiration taken from my nephew and my nieces. And like Sakura kind of became the way she is because she complemented Fubuki perfectly this way. And I am a sucker for the grumpy sunshine character dynamic, especially in friendships. And like their strong friendship is very much based on my own friendship and relationship with my best friend. Like, we grew up together and we're very different people, but we're still really good friends, and I don't think anything can take that away. even if we're living completely different lives and have different interests and music tastes and taste in anything, I think. But despite this, we grew up together and I wouldn't trade her for the world. I trust her more than anyone and I could not imagine my life without her. Sakura's more questionable behaviors are not inspired by my best friend. It's purely their relationship, because she's not very much like Sakura at all. Speaking of best friends, Alexander was at first supposed to be like a fake love interest. I had the idea of having him there to, you would think he would be the love interest because they're so close and they get along really well, but in the end it was always supposed to be Fubuki and Casey. At the same time, along the line, I felt like, he would meet Fubuki's brother and fall in love with him later on in the story. I had this moment planned in my head when they would meet, but yeah, that didn't happen. Like, the moment is kind of there, but not in the same way. Instead, they're already dating, just keeping it kind of a secret while they handle their own emotions. What I didn't realize until after I published Keep Me Breathing is that a lot of Alexander reminds me of a friend I had in high school, where we had really similar interests and we kind of had the same hair color and shared shoelaces, and it was kind of an inside joke that he was the manly version of me. And that's kind of what Alexander and Fubuki is. They are very similar, they understand each other in a completely different way than anyone else does for that specific reason. But they're also two different people and have their own worries. And while Alexander and Sakura are very different, I feel like that's an important thing to highlight, that not all friends are the same. Like, we have different friendships with different people who are similar to us and different from us, and Fubuki needed both. None of them are better than the other. None of them are a better friend than the other is. They're just different. And I mentioned Inkheart earlier, but there was also something else that inspired me at the time when I started writing this book, which was the anime series Sakugan. Great show, highly recommend it. And like, this show is probably one of the reasons why it went into the world being a giant cave system, though the environments are very different, but it was a huge inspiration for this book. And I think also it played a big role in having Gideon sometimes come with Sakura on her missions. One of the main characters in this show is Gagamber. Along with some other characters, he was a big inspiration for Casey. Also, Basta, again from Inkheart, inspired a lot in Casey, and I will not claim that my taste in fictional men are the best, but Casey is very much like a mashup of different fictional crushes, and a big part of like how I imagine him visually is inspired by Oshino Meme from the Monogatari series. Best character in the series, you can't convince me otherwise. But Casey also has a lot of things taken from Basta, because like I said, Basta is top tier, favorite character. Questionable, I know. While Gagamber was a big part in Casey being kind of this sleazy, womanizing asshole, Basta played a big role in the long-sleeved shirt and the scars on his arm and the fear of the thing that gave him said scars, though it's not fire. One important thing with Casey though is that despite his outwardly, sleazebagginess, he is very respectful and he doesn't intentionally cross any boundaries, and never with ill intent. Like, he never makes fun of anyone for the things they struggle with. He respects Fubuki's decision to not give him her name. So even when he hears her name, he doesn't use it until she gives him permission to. This results in nicknames instead. But it's one of those things that I felt was really important to highlight. Like, he hears her name, they travel together for quite a while, and he never uses it, not until she says, "You're allowed to use my name." And he also supports both Fubuki and Alexander to some extent, but mainly Fubuki, without expecting anything in return. Like, he's fully aware that she hates his guts, but he can't help wanting to help, so he's not helping to make her like him. Even if he wants her to like him, he's purely helping her because it's the right thing to do and he cares about her. And like, she does the same in return. She respects him despite hating him. She insults him to his face, but not behind his back. And later she also, instead of having him cross a bigger bridge with the four-wheeler, she has Alexander cross the bridge with the four-wheeler, and she takes him as a passenger on her bike instead. And like, for me, all of these relationships are the heart of this book, and especially the fact that they're not perfect, but they're not toxic. They're messy and not always the best, but they have good intentions and can actually respect each other and forgive each other and work through things. And they will just be there through the worst parts, despite them being messy and fumbling. And like I said, it still feels a little weird to talk about this book. It feels kind of like I'm bragging, and I don't believe I'm the best writer in the world, far from it, but I do feel proud to have created these characters that I'm still very much in love with, and other people have come to love, and they bring me joy. That's the most important thing. They bring me joy and they bring other people joy, and I want to share that joy. Not because I think, oh, this book is well written. I have learned a lot since I published it, but because the core of the characters are still there and they make me smile. And at the end of the day, I write for me. I love that other people love this book and these characters, and the same is true for all my future books as well, all books I've written. They're not, ooh, other people will like this. It's, I really like this idea and I want to tell this story. And I also don't want to be afraid to talk about them. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great adventure, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!